Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Today, it's going to be very brief again. We're going to go over some time management and prospecting bullet points, and also whenever I send out the recorded version, I will have a guide of 42 things that will help you out. So let's get started here. Again, it's going to be very, very brief. So with prospecting, the difference between good and great salespeople is going to start with how you use your time. It's a simple fact of if you expect to accomplish a goal, spend your time doing what needs to be done to accomplish it. One tip that I always look at is never end a day without setting up for your next day. So, even you if you have we'll talk about time management, but even if you have from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock set aside to make phone calls or send emails or do something, if 6 o'clock it's not done, make sure you get it done, because you're going to be that way you're not putting it off to the next day. That way you're done, and still take the time to set up for the next day. Have your tasks set up, have the materials that you need for your tasks set up today, and that'll help you shave off a lot of the time prepared to being spent to prepare the next day. Everybody kind of knows that, if you start, if you get to work, and let's say you have an office job and you get to work at 9 o'clock, you gotta open up your emails, check your emails. You might go grab coffee. Oh, you could talk to this person or that person. You got a couple more emails, and by the time it's lunchtime. What have you accomplished? Or if there's a distraction in between, that whole thing restarts. It takes you about 30 minutes to really get into the flow of something. So if it takes you 30 minutes to be distracted and then 30 more minutes to get into the flow of something, but you get distracted again, there's another 30 minutes, and you're spending your whole day not actually being able to complete your task. So plan your work your plan, stick to it, and be ready to go when you actually sit down to do your work, whether it's going to be out in the field or you're at home making phone calls or whatever you have there. And hope is not a plan. So you can't start your day hoping to sell a policy. Now, you can hope to sell 5 policies, but hope to sell one is not a plan. You have a plan. One of the things that I always utilize is every day waking up and saying, I will sell a deal today. I will sell a deal today. I will sell a deal today. So some of the best salespeople that I've met, they have a goal of, I need to get in front of X amount of people today. I need to get in front of X amount of people today. And they'll be, I've seen them walking around telling themselves that I need to get in front of 3 people today. I need to get in front of one person today. I already got one policy. I need to, and in front of could be a term, I need to get somebody on the phone. You can break it down, what we call break it down to the ridiculous. If you need to sell 1 policy a day or 2 policies a day, how many people do you need to talk to? How many leads do you need to talk to those people? Have that planned out. Have that planned out, and get to the point where you know that every day you're going to have X amount of phone calls to make or X amount of people to see. Get to that point. And the tips that we're going to share in the guide will help you for those folks that aren't buying leads. I mean, if you're not buying leads, you're not being able to get in front of people. So there's something else you got to be doing. If you're not doing any of these other 42 things that are going to be on there, then you're probably not doing very well. And that's what we're here to try to fix. We want to make sure that we're guiding as much as possible. Obviously, we can't put people in front of you, and we can't sell policies for you. We can't make phone calls for you. That's where you come in. But you've got to be doing something to reap the benefit of it. If you're not doing something, what are you doing? Break it down, find out what's going on, and fix it. So, how do you use your time? Are you taking the 30 minutes to just get started, or are you spending 30 minutes the day before to get everything prepared, or were you just spending 30 minutes just hoping? Eliminating administrative tasks. Those are for some agents that may be selling quite a few policies. Being prepared to pivot. So if you've got to be a little flexible, But sticking with the task that you're on is very important. I have a notebook. It's like a regular white pad, and on the left-hand side, um, if you're looking at a regular pad of paper, there's the two red lines, and then a small space on the left-hand side. I've got a notebook that has a larger space on the left-hand side, less space in the actual center section, and on the left-hand side, I write down the things that I have to accomplish for that day. And I check them off one by one. If there's anything that I can't get done, I see that it's my task, call it my task bar, and and I still look at that. And then on the main section, I can write down, anything else that might come up or notes. If somebody I talk to, I write the notes down. So on that left-hand side, though, I still need to come back to those tasks. If I don't come back to those tasks, then I will carry it over. If I can't complete it, I'll carry it over to the next day. So, if you need to do that, check it out. They're at Office Max, Staples. You can find those. Swallow the frog. That's that big, like, the first initial hurdle to make that first phone call. Sometimes you're kind of like, man, I really don't want to talk to someone today. And you just got to swallow that frog. So just down it and go. Keep going. That's the next point. Structuring your day around your buyer. Now, that's not saying, be left hanging out to dry when somebody says, yeah, I'll be there at this time, and go wait for them. What it's meaning is, if, for example, if you're going to work mortgage protection leads, mortgage protection, they're probably working during the day, so you're not going to call during the day, you're going to call in the evening. So, structuring your day around what you're going to be doing, and that's a part of having that plan. Streamlining repeatable tasks, like sending out postcards or something. You can streamline things like that. A concise value proposition. So this is not just a value proposition to me, but that's, having a clear, concise, and consistent message that you're giving, whether it's a voicemail or when you're talking to your client. Have a value proposition about yourself. What do you bring to the table? What are they going to get with you? They're going to get service. They're going to get the fact that you do this as a living. They don't. So if they have a question about a policy, or if they have an issue or something, you would want them to call you. You can handle that, and you can service those policies by contacting the carrier, and that's what they're paying for. It's almost like a realtor. When you hire a realtor, they're taking the pressure away from you selling your home or trying to find a home. That's what they do. I remember I was working 60-plus hours in a sales job, and I needed to find an apartment. And it was just getting so frustrating. I contacted an apartment finder, and it was great. They found a place for me in 3 days, and I didn't have to pay them. So, these clients aren't paying you. The carriers are paying you. You're just taking that away from them having to worry about that. You find the right client. You say, hey, I got you taken care of. Let me do my job, and I'm gonna present the best one for you, because we all know there's 100 different options for clients. So having that value proposition is a great way, and having that clear and concise. Folks don't know what life insurance agents do. They don't know what they might see a commercial on TV about life insurance, but when they start looking into it, it gets confusing for them. So what do you bring to the table and make that clear? Creating email templates is another great way. Everybody has the ability to, create an email template. You can use right inside of your email provider, whoever you use, and create one. And it's going to take a lot of time away. Just like my example postcard last week when you're following up on a lead. Hey, just saw that you were, looking for insurance. Please get back with me. It's very simple. So creating your to-do list the night before. Like I said, if you have something that's carried over, if you need to do something the next day, do that the night before. Don't wait until that day. Chunking your time, that's kind of block scheduling. You don't necessarily have to do it minute by minute, but knowing what you're going to be doing and when, very important. And take breaks. You need mental breaks sometimes. You can't always be 100% involved, and when your brain starts malfunctioning, you need a break, and you'll know it if you're in tune with how you're thinking about something. The term "sleep on it" that's actually that's a thing. You know, you when you're sleeping, your brain has a chance to rest, and you're actually able to comprehend things a little bit better. So, not saying taking a nap during the day, but just take a small break. Of course, for lunch, things like that. And a big thing that I try to incorporate in my in my business and my personal life is, if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it. It's so easy to think, okay, well, it just takes less than 2 minutes, I'll do it later. It's so much easier, and you feel so much more accomplished when you just take the 30 seconds to send that email. Whenever you speak with a client, if you didn't get a sale, for example, or if you did, even if you did, hey, email them. Thanks for speaking with me. I'm glad everything worked out. Or thanks for speaking with me. I look forward to meeting with you soon. Or hey, thanks for agreeing to meet with me. Or confirmation. Something like that. That's a quick 30-second thing. Or if it's just, for example, if a customer has a question about a policy, and they email you, just if you know the answer, if you can find out an answer in less than 2 minutes, just shoot them an email back, give them a call. It only takes a couple of minutes. Now, that's where you're chunking your time and blocking your schedule could come in handy. If you're going to be able to do that in the morning, once after lunch, etc. One of the things that that I want to go over, and I can't go over 42 ways to generate more insurance leads, but there's a guide. There's a free guide. I found it just Googling things, and it's going to be available to you once you start hearing this. There should be a picture in the same email to click to bring up the PDF. So you'll be able to just get some extra hints and tips on generating leads, the prospecting aspect of what we're talking about. If you're not buying leads, where are you going to get people in front of you? You're not going to stand on the corner spinning a sign. People without word of mouth, they need to come to you. So we've got an agent that was selling policies from Instagram posts. She was letting people know what she does. She's letting people know what she does for a living. That's powerful. People, honestly, in my personal life, I don't know anybody that sells life insurance. Unless you're in the circle or in the groups, you may not know anybody. So, letting your friends and family know, and you don't have to be one of those Facebook sharks, but I know a guy who month in, month out sold 20 to 25 deals, all from Facebook, referrals, Facebook, friends and family. It's a powerful tool. Now, it wasn't insurance, but it's still a powerful tool to be able to utilize that. And one of the things is in this day and age, and we kind of touched on it last week, is that people would rather spend a bunch of money or some decent money on like a nice car or a dinner or something like that, and they're not necessarily looking at life insurance as something as important as that. But that's where a clever and educational and informative piece of information that you can provide to someone, hey, it's as simple as, hey, do you have life insurance, or is your family covered financially when you pass? No? Take this pamphlet, read it, get back to me. Something like that is very, very simple to produce. It's very inexpensive. It's almost like a track when you're asking someone to come to Jesus. It's having that realization, or hey, take a look at this video. There's a couple of videos on YouTube that are very powerful about having life insurance. I mean, there's even a commercial that I've seen where the kid goes to work to try to help mom out. She goes, no, dad took care of us. He had life insurance, and she didn't lose the house. Those are things that are covered. Some of those things are covered in the 42 ways, like having events, financial events. There's an agent that they were telling me that they did financial events where, not everybody comes from a family that's financially well off, but for example, if I took and spent a small amount now per month for a term, and I pass, I can leave my children something that they can start off their financial stability with, by me taking the steps. So imagine if somebody was teaching somebody that. I mean, my parents didn't teach me that. Their parents didn't teach them that, but I'm going to teach my kids that. So I can teach my kids and give them something that will help them financially in the future. I've changed my entire generation. I've changed my whole family. I've changed everything that comes after me, and it's very powerful. So again, it's small ways that you can reach people, that it's just talking to them, and you're not buying leads, you're giving them an informative piece of material. So again, take a look at the presentation from last week. Take a look at the guide that's going to be attached to the email here. If you have any questions, any comments, anything else you need, give us a call, send us an email. Myself and Ray are here to help you out. It's 866-212-4196 and info@longemailsummitallianceadvantage.com. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.